best faction of Andromeda's Edge is the Funginar Sporegots. What am I even saying? A sentient fungi has clearly commanded me to tell you that they are going to dominate. They've planted spores across the galaxy, and they're headed next for Andromeda's Edge. What does this mean? Well, what it means for gameplay is that we have a wide array of factions to choose from. And yes, one of my absolute favorites, I can't even believe I'm saying it, is Fungus. Luke and Maximus have really made some creative factions in this game, and when we told Sergio that he got to draw not your typical sci-fi scene, but a sentient fungi, he had a blast with that illustration, making one of the most colorful ones we have in the game. But how does it play, you're asking? What can I do as the Funginar Sporegots? Your first ability is called Decompose. That's right, you're waiting for things to break down, and anytime there is a ship in the scrapyard, at the start of your turn, you're going to get a nanocarbon. The scrapyard is that place where anytime you lose a ship in battle, it goes to the scrapyard. It's not usable until you return to station. And let me just tell you, that's not just your ships in the scrapyard. It's any ship in the scrapyard. And in a game like Andromeda's Edge, where space battles are practically happening every turn, and people are losing ships into the scrapyard, that means you're going to be getting nanocarbon practically every turn. One of the most fun ways to play with that is that on the first turn, you could launch to a spot in a dangerous area of Andromeda. There might be a raider guarding one of the regions you want to take. Now, if you beat that raider, you're going up the supremacy track, but if you lose, well, you're in the scrapyard, and then you're going to be decomposing, and you're going to have nanocarbon on turn 2. And what happens if you do lose that ship is that on turn 2, you don't have a ship on the board, which means tactically you could go to another juicy spot. So the Funginar Sporegots are going to have the ability to get all around the board, and they're going to really ramp this game up. And that plays into power number 2, called fungal growth. Now, what fungal growth says is that you're going to build giant structures, big obelisks out of, you guessed it, nanocarbon. That's what you were gathering all this time. So you could build a spaceport not for 2 or 3 credits, but for nanocarbon. You could build entire cities out of organic material. So you're basically going and building the world out of this resource that you are getting every turn. And so that makes the Funginar Sporegots a very fast faction. They are going to be able to develop almost all over the entire region. All you have to do is make sure you get enough leaders to pull it off. And now, what about their ship, right? Because every faction gets a special ship, and the Funginar Sporegots get the MYCILLINOX. What is that? That is a transport upgrade, which means that actually all 6 of your transports will get this upgrade. Not the ones that are actively becoming developments on planets, but all the other ships you have are going to have this power called Toxic Cloud. What that does is it makes you a very formidable foe in battle, because anytime you take damage in battle, your MYCILLINOX are going to burst a toxic cloud, damaging every other non-raider opponent in that battle. And it stacks, meaning that if you're against an entire armada, you might take them down. Basically, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me. So the Funginar Sporegots tend to be avoided, as people do not want to lose to a toxic cloud, and they also don't want their ship in the scrapyard to give you nanocarbon. As they say, a best offense is a good defense sometimes. So these are the ways that the Funginar Sporegots are going to play, but there are tons of ways you can play. They're actually one of the easiest factions to get into in Andromeda. Why? Because you're getting resources every turn, and you can spend those resources as wild. So people really enjoy playing this faction. It has a lot of good feels. In fact, you could use your nanocarbon in a couple of different ways. You see, your focus is on science and industry to start the game, and science modules are purchased with, you guessed it, nanocarbon. So the Funginar Sporegots are going to be able to get up that science track if that's what you want to do. You can spend your nanocarbon on science modules and race up that track. And actually, the power of the science track is to get discoveries. So your faction's going to be able to secretly look at these 5 things and pick the best one, leaving the crap for everybody else. So Funginar Sporegots are going to be able to choose whether or not you want to develop and control the tempo of the game, possibly speeding up the game and getting a lot of points on your developments, or getting a big score in, say, science or industry with the ability to go to the Maximus field quite often. I love playing the Funginar Sporegots. As I said, it's one of the easiest factions to get into. It's got a great theme. I already feel like immediately I know what I want. I want nanocarbon and I want to build stuff. So I absolutely love getting in there, and of course you've got a MYCILLINOX army that no one wants to touch. No one wants to go anywhere near fungus, I can tell you that for sure. Absolutely everyone stays out of your way, and you can instead focus on dominating Andromeda's Edge.